All right, so today we're diving deep into Nikola Tesla. You wanted to learn about how he used his imagination to become such an amazing innovator,
Mm-hmm.
and you sent us some incredible sources, so
Yeah.
get ready, because I think there are going to be some aha moments here.
Yeah. Well, from what I've been reading, it seems like we're not just talking about light bulbs and inventions here.
Right,
We're going to be talking about the power of imagination. Almost like it's a force of nature.
exactly. Everyone knows Tesla as this brilliant inventor, but the sources really highlight that his imagination wasn't just a tool for him. It was like a way of being.
Yeah, and it's fascinating because he wasn't just coming up with ideas. He was almost like living them before they even existed.
Okay, now you've got to elaborate on that. What do you mean living an idea?
Well, a lot of the accounts describe Tesla's visualization process as being incredibly detailed. It wasn't just a vague idea. He would mentally build his inventions in his mind, piece by piece.
So like a 3D model in his head. That's still pretty impressive.
Mhm.
What makes it so special?
It goes way beyond that. He would mentally rotate the invention, test it from all angles, and even simulate how different parts would interact. One source even mentioned that. He could identify flaws in his designs just through this mental simulation.
Wait, so he's like running virtual experiments in his head. That's like having a built-in simulator
Yeah.
before computers even existed.
Precisely. And this goes to the heart of what the sources emphasize, which is the difference between simply having knowledge and truly utilizing imagination.
Ooh, okay, break that down for us.
Sure. Knowledge is essential, of course. It's about gathering facts and understanding how things work. But Tesla went beyond that. He used his imagination to apply that knowledge, to push the boundaries of what was considered possible.
Almost like
Yeah.
knowledge is the raw material and imagination is what you build with it. Like you could have all the bricks in the world, but without a vision, you're not going to construct anything remarkable.
Exactly. And that's where Tesla's genius really shines. He combined his deep knowledge with this powerful, almost unreal imagination.
And this is where it gets even wilder. The sources describe Tesla talking about tapping into this universal intelligence. It's almost like he believed that he was downloading ideas from somewhere beyond his own mind.
I was skeptical of that idea at first, but it's interesting because several sources mention this concept. It really challenges our typical understanding of where ideas come from.
Right, because we usually think of imagination as something that happens inside our heads, right? But Tesla's talking about a connection to something much bigger.
Right. And it makes me wonder, have you ever had a moment where an idea just popped into your head, seemingly out of nowhere, and it felt so clear, so perfect, that it was almost like it wasn't even your own thought?
I know exactly what you mean. It's like that aha moment, but amplified, like times 1,000.
Exactly. What if Tesla was experiencing this on a whole other level? And what if that's what he meant by accessing this universal intelligence? Maybe it's not as far-fetched as it sounds.
Okay, now my mind is officially blown. So we've got this incredible power of imagination, potentially even a connection to a universal source of ideas. But how did Tesla actually translate all of this into real-world inventions?
Well, that's where the sources get really interesting. They talk about Tesla having this crystal clear vision for everything he created.
So he had like the whole blueprint in his mind,
Yeah.
down to the smallest details, before even starting to build anything.
Exactly. And it wasn't just a static image. The sources describe him holding the vision, actively focusing on it, almost willing it into existence. Like he was sculpting his inventions in his mind before ever touching a physical tool.
I'm picturing him now, Tesla, in his workshop, but not with wrenches and wires, but with this intense focus, like he's channeling this energy from within.
And that's what really set him apart. He didn't just have ideas. He had this unwavering belief, this certainty that they could and would become reality.
Okay, so we've laid the groundwork here, but I'm dying to hear how all of this played out in Tesla's life.
Yeah.
Did this unshakable belief ever get challenged?
Oh, absolutely. Remember Thomas Edison?
Yeah.
Basically the guy who invented the light bulb? Well, he and Tesla had this epic rivalry over the best way to deliver electricity.
Oh yeah, the battle of the currents, AC versus DC. And Edison was like a pretty big deal back then.
He was a titan of industry, but Tesla, with his unwavering vision, was convinced that alternating current, AC, was the future. And this went against everything Edison had built his empire on.
So Tesla's going up against the establishment.
Yeah.
The guy that everyone saw as the inventor. I mean, that takes some serious guts.
It wasn't just guts, it was a deep, unshakable conviction in his own vision. And the sources actually describe Tesla as being almost energized by this challenge. Like, the resistance fueled his determination.
You know, that's something that I struggle with sometimes. When people doubt my ideas, I tend to second-guess myself. But Tesla seemed to use that doubt as fuel.
Yeah, it's a fascinating contrast, isn't it? Imagine having that level of confidence in your own vision to the point where opposition just strengthens your resolve.
Okay, but Edison wasn't just some random critic. He was like a powerful, influential figure. Did this resistance ever create real problems for Tesla?
Oh, it definitely wasn't easy. One source described a public demonstration where Edison actually tried to discredit AC by using it to electrocute animals. It was this brutal attempt to scare the public.
Wow, that's pretty dark. So how did Tesla respond to, like, that kind of smear campaign?
He doubled down on his vision. He understood that public perception was important, so he devised his own demonstrations, showcasing the safety and efficiency of AC power. He even lit up the 1893 World's Fair in Chicago using his system. It was a truly spectacular display that helped shift public opinion.
It's like he was saying, you want to play dirty, fine, but I'm going to win this with sheer brilliance.
And he did. Think about it. The world we live in today is powered by AC, the very system that Tesla championed. His vision, fueled by his ability to overcome resistance, literally illuminated the world.
I'm starting to understand this whole superpower thing now. But let's go back to this idea of universal intelligence for a second, because it's still kind of tripping me out. Did the sources give any clues about how to access that kind of inspiration?
Yeah, it's definitely a slippery concept, but some of the sources hinted at practices that might help cultivate a connection to this source.
Okay, give me something I can work with here.
Well, several sources mention Tesla's emphasis on mental clarity and focus. He believed in training the mind, almost like an athlete trains their body.
So we're not just talking about, like, wishing for inspiration to strike. It's about actively creating the right mental environment.
Exactly. One source mentioned Tesla's strict daily routine, long walks, specific exercises, even a somewhat unusual diet. He believed that these practices helped sharpen his mind and make him more receptive to inspiration.
Interesting. It makes sense that mental clarity would be important for someone who visualized things so vividly. But what about the universal aspect? Did he ever talk about how to connect with that larger source?
Well, there are accounts of Tesla practicing meditation and spending extended periods in solitude. It seems like he understood the importance of quieting the mind to allow deeper insights to emerge.
So it's not just about, like, thinking harder. It's about creating space for those aha moments to come through.
It seems that way, and this actually ties into another point the sources highlight. Tesla's incredible discipline and work ethic. He didn't just sit around waiting for inspiration. He actively pursued his vision.
Okay, so I'm seeing a pattern here. It's not about just having a great idea. It's about the unwavering belief, the focused intention, and the sheer dedication to bringing that idea to life.
And that's a really powerful takeaway for anyone listening. It suggests that we all have this potential within us, not just to dream big, but to actively cultivate those dreams into reality.
It's funny, we started out talking about all these Tesla inventions,
Yeah.
but it feels like we're uncovering this whole philosophy of creativity and innovation.
Yeah, and I think that's at the heart of what makes Tesla so fascinating. It's not just the inventions themselves, but the mindset, the approach that allowed him to create them.
Exactly. And speaking of approach, the sources keep coming back to this idea of vision. It's almost like Tesla had this internal compass guiding him toward his goals.
It's more than just having a goal. It's about that unwavering clarity, that deep inner knowing of what you want to create.
You know, I'm thinking about all those times I've set goals that, like, kind of fizzled out. Maybe it's because they were more like wishes than actual visions.
Yeah. It's a subtle but important distinction. A wish is something you hope for, but a vision is something you actively create in your mind. And Tesla took this to an extreme level.
Didn't one of the sources mention that he'd visualize his inventions so vividly that it was almost like a waking dream?
Yes. And he wouldn't just see it once. He'd hold that vision in his mind day after day, refining it, exploring it from all angles.
So he's like building it in his mind
Yeah.
before even touching any physical materials. That's incredible. But how do you go from this, like, internal vision to actually making something real?
That's where action comes in. But it's not just any action, it's aligned action, fueled by that clear vision. Tesla didn't just tinker randomly. Every experiment, every calculation was driven by his ultimate goal.
Okay, so it's like a two-part process. First, you cultivate this powerful, crystal clear vision, and then you take consistent, focused action that's aligned with that vision.
Precisely. And that's a recipe for success in any field, not just invention, whether you're writing a book, building a business, or even just trying to improve your health. Having that clear vision and taking aligned action is crucial.
It's almost like that vision becomes a magnet, pulling you towards your goals. But, let's be real for a sec. Life isn't always a smooth path. What happens when you hit those roadblocks? Those moments where everything seems to be going wrong?
Well, that's where Tesla's persistence comes in. The sources are filled with stories of him facing setback after setback, financial ruin, even ridicule from the scientific community.
And yet he never gave up. It's like those challenges just made him more determined.
Exactly. He understood that innovation isn't about avoiding obstacles. It's about having the resilience to overcome them. It's about that unwavering belief in your vision, even when everyone else doubts you.
I think that's what makes Tesla such an inspiring figure. He wasn't just brilliant. He was incredibly persistent, even in the face of adversity.
And that's a powerful message for anyone listening, I think. We all face challenges, moments of doubt, times when we want to give up. But Tesla's story reminds us that it's in those moments when we push through that we truly discover our potential.
So at the end of this deep dive into the mind of Nikola Tesla, what's like the biggest takeaway? What's the one thing I should carry with me moving forward?
I think it's this. Each of us possesses the power of imagination, a force more potent than we often realize. By cultivating a clear vision, taking aligned action, and embracing the challenges along the way, we can tap into that power and create something truly remarkable.
Tesla's legacy isn't just about inventions. It's about pushing the boundaries of what's possible. And that's something we can all strive for in our own unique ways.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe someday we'll be doing a deep dive on your incredible accomplishments.
I like the sound of that. Well, until next time, everyone, keep those imaginations firing. And remember, the power to create lies within each of us.